Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome into the Hoop Hogs video mailbag. Curtis Wilkerson here with Inside Arkansas, the pot at the palace. And let's talk a little bit of Razorback hoops. You guys ask me questions. I like to answer them. We've been doing this for over a month now, and it's been a lot of fun. But have a good one here, and maybe we'll kill a couple birds with one stone, because I know Arkansas put out the a photo recently, and you saw a couple guys out there with those walking boots on, and that's a big area of concern for a lot of people when they see that. The two guys there were Jonas Adu and Big Z. So you're two big men. So that's not ideal for sure. What I'll say about that off the top, and then we'll get to Crypto Hog's question, which is a good one. Sometimes these boots are misleading, I think, to people, and they might not quite understand what the purpose of them is. When you see these walking boots, it's support. It's to take pressure off of the lower leg or foot or whatever. I was an athletic trainer for 10 years at the college setting, and if somebody rolled an ankle, we put them in a boot for a few days. Just take that pressure off of it. Don't want them walking on it too much. If someone had a bone bruise, we would do that. Literally any range of injury, a sore Achilles, we'd put them in a boot. So it wasn't always like a really bad high ankle sprain or a break or a fracture or something like that. If we were seeing those guys on scooters or with casts on or something, yeah, that's probably a huge concern. But with these boots, sometimes it can be a deal where guys are gonna miss time, and you don't like that. But other times it's just precautionary. And so with Z, I think he's been back out there. With Jonas Adu, he's been in a boot since he got to campus, as far as I know, in and out of it. I think it's precautionary with him, but he's still been participating, but obviously, kind of limited there. So I don't know the nature of the exact injuries or exact reasons why those guys were in those boots, but I wouldn't worry about it too much just yet. Now, if we get on into October and exhibitions and those guys aren't playing or something, then maybe you worry about it. But like Anthony Black, I always use him as an example. He was in a boot like the entire NCAA tournament. Everywhere I saw him, except on the floor for games, he had a boot on. I saw Ricky Council walking around in a boot, and then I watched him later that night win a dunk contest inside Bud Walton Arena. Makai Mitchell and Caleb Battle are both in boots all summer. And those guys didn't really miss any time, over the course of the season. So there can be a lot of different reasons for that, some more concerning than others. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it. But the question from Crypto Hog is, what does Arkansas look like without Jonas Adu or Big Z or possibly both? Are we still competitive, and will it actually be small ball? That would not be ideal, because those are Arkansas's two big men. Are they still competitive? Absolutely. Like there's still plenty of talent on this team. Plenty of firepower. It would definitely be a huge hit to the depth, and you would probably struggle in the areas you would expect, like rim protection, rebounding, physicality around the bucket, and all that. So yeah, you would take a hit, but are you still competitive? For sure. And will it actually be small ball? Well, it would have to be. They really wouldn't have a choice there. But I don't think it would be quite as alarming as maybe some people let on. Like, I know Trevin Brazil catches a lot of flack for his lack of physicality and everything. And he's a stretch four, but there are way worse small ball fives across this country than Trevin Brazil. Like, you could do a lot worse than that. I understand he might struggle with the bigger, stronger, more physical centers. But in terms of his length, his rim protection being a mismatch problem, you would still have a good option to turn to there, because he would be the next guy up, right? If you remember what he did to Ryan Kalkbrenner at Maui, in terms of dragging him out from underneath the rim, that's huge. And that's what you would have to do, is exploit matchups that way to kind of counteract the maybe the liabilities that you would have on the flip side. So yeah, like there's worse small ball centers out there than Trevin Brazil by far. There are way worse, four men who are forced to play the five in a pinch than what Adu Thiero would be, because he would be kind of the next line of defense there. He's a jumbo wing. Like, you don't want him playing center. But the thing about Thiero is he's so versatile at his size. I mean, he's 6'8", 220 pounds. He's chiseled out of granite. And so he's big enough, strong enough to be able to hold his own in there, and he's athletic enough to still be a factor on the glass. Is it ideal? No. Is it the end of the world? No. Like, you could still manage that in ways. And then what would the trickle down be? That's where it would get tricky. You would have like Carter Knox has the size, at 225 pounds, 6'6". Billy Richmond has the length and athleticism to slip down and play a little bit of 4 if you have to in certain matchups, kind of, 4-guard lineups, slide some wings down there. If you had to do it, you could. It wouldn't be the end of the world. It wouldn't be ideal. The interesting thing is, Nelly Davis, actually. Now, he's only 6'3", 6'4", but he's super long, strong, physical, senior veteran guard. On FAU's Final Four team, they had 4 guards and Vlad Golden at center. And so in a way, Nelly Davis at times served as a de facto 4-man for him. It's not in the traditional sense, but he guarded those guys and he rebounded against, bigger guys. So that's not something that's new to him or lost on him. So could Arkansas get away with some small ball if they absolutely had to? Yeah, they could, and they're probably better equipped for it than a lot of teams that are out there. But what I will say is I'm still baffled that Arkansas didn't add another big man out of the transfer portal, particularly. And I'm not saying, why didn't they get, North Shadow Mirror to go with Big Z and Jonas Adu? No, but a depth piece at least. Just really surprised that they didn't do that, because I would feel a lot different about the situation if it was, okay, like in terms of the guys who are really factoring into our rotation, you drop Trevin Brazil down to the 5 if you're in a pinch, but you still have a transfer big man that you can turn to for 8 minutes a game or whatever to give him a blow. And there's a lot of guys who are out there who, for low majors, mid majors, whatever, who put up decent enough numbers, but they have experience, they have size, they played college basketball for years. And you just don't have an option there. You don't even have a Lawson Blake to turn to because of his unfortunate injury. In practice, they're going to be going against big men who are graduate assistants that they brought into practice against them. So that's a surprising part of this to me, because they really fleshed out the roster where they got 14, 15 guys on it. But all of those back end, maybe, depth pieces, if you will, they were all guards, every single one of them. And so I was surprised by that. Probably if there was one thing that I would have done differently in terms of filling things out, I would have got another transfer big man, just in case you run into this situation. And I know that you can't operate on what ifs of, well, yeah, what if both of the big men that we brought in out of the portal get injured and they're not available? But you still like to have somebody that you can turn to. Like if Arkansas, if their guards start dropping like flies for whatever reason, at least you still have a Cash Chavis who was a top 150 prospect that you can turn to. At least you still have a Melo Sanchez who is a D2 transfer, but he's played a lot of college basketball and he can shoot the crap out of it. The big men go down. You just don't have anybody. You're just going to play guards down there. So, hey, whatever. I'm not the Hall of Fame coach and I'm not the expert, but that's probably one thing I would have done different. So, it'll be interesting if Arkansas has to go through that. It's not ideal for anybody. And that's something Cal said in the past, like, hey, no matter who you turn to, if you lose one of your best players, like it's just not going to be a good thing. But hopefully, you don't have to worry about it too much and Adu and Z stay healthy, because I think they're both dynamite players. But appreciate the question. Appreciate the interaction as always. If you have something for me, hit me up. My Twitter profile @KurtWilkerson_. You can throw me a DM. I have a pinned thread with this video mailbag where you can drop your questions in, throw them in the YouTube comments, wherever you can get in touch with me. Do that. I'll find it and we'll talk about it. But I'm going to get out of here. Make sure you guys get subscribed to the Inside Arkansas YouTube channel. Follow along the playlist, the Hoop Hogs video mailbag, and we will see you again bright and early tomorrow. Everybody have a good one.